So, in order to make the title of this video kind of make sense, I have to explain how I play games when I'm doing them for this show. When I'm doing them for the Tales of the Hunt series, or when I'm doing them for just me, I need to kind of explain, right? So the one thing I do is that I'll play a bunch of games at one time, right? Mostly because of the channel, mostly because of kind of just whatever needs to happen. So something happened. There was something that caused me to have a reaction. And that reaction was pretty much caused me to be like, okay, I'm gonna play this game because that's how I'm gonna react to this thing. And let me tell you, that put me in a really negative and angry place. And I haven't finished that game yet, so I'm still in this negative kind of angry place as I was playing this game. And I did kind of make it a goal of mine that I wanted to get all the Telltale Platinum games, Platinum trophies. Mostly out of like a tip of the hat, mostly out of a pride thing. And it is something that I want to do. So it's like, alright, I'll just start playing this to kind of get some stupid happiness, to get some stupid joy out of my current gaming, because it is going rough. So because of that, I kind of started playing this on the side. So I did go all in on this one game, and I wanted some bright shininess, and as you can see, it's really super fucking bright and fucking bright shiny. I'm just gonna do whatever. So when I saw that I had this game, and when I saw a forum post online saying, hey, how do I legitimately get this game again? Once that Telltale has gone down, and a lot of the games being pulled from online stores, how do we get this game? So I got really worried, so I immediately went out, purchased the game as soon as I found a physical copy of said game. Bought it, went to town, and started just downloading everything. Mostly out of fear that I wasn't going to be able to play it. I won't get it any other way. So I started playing it, and immediately I was super excited to be back with Patton Oswalt as Jesse, back with the four main characters of the game. And then really quickly realized that this game does not give a shit about the past. In a really weird way. So this game, spoilers for this game if you want to play it, I'm just going to spoil all of it. Because I played it to get good times, and this game did not give me good times. It was not a happy-go-lucky game like I thought it was going to be. It kind of bummed me out, because the entire game, you have Petra, who was easily like one of the most badass character in the entire game of the first one. Ben goes, I miss my friend. I'm lonely. I don't want change to happen. Everything is becoming a shit show. I don't know what's going on. And it became this really depressing thing. And then as the story kind of continues, you find out that everyone's kind of like spread apart. And everyone's kind of falling apart with their relationships and all this. And then you have this character of the admin, which is God. Basically God in this game. So it quickly becomes man vs. God, and it is intense. It is literally these pixelated characters trying to fight God, and there's no way to explain it. It becomes this thing of, this depressing thing of, God's a dick. God's who I have to fight. I'm up against the world. My friends don't want to hang out anymore. Everything is super lonely. The one person I do trust is now lying to me on a daily basis. And I'm like, I wanted good times, because the game I was playing made me feel sad and unloved, and I wanted good times. And this game did not give me good times. I felt guilty. I was playing this and not the other game I was trying really hard to play. I felt horrible because the game's over here like, nothing is real, everything's a nightmare. it's all gonna fall apart one day. And it's just like, oh, that was not what I wanted to play, hear, or see while playing this game. And it was just horrible. So I do want to talk about this game, and some of the things that it does, because besides the whole mythos of nothing is real, everything is changing, everything's a nightmare, God is a dick motif, it does bring in a lot of characters, and it brings in a lot of new things that I do want to talk about. This guy, Raider, who I'm walking around with the glasses over here, is the ultimate fanboy after, you know, after your first game, after your first Season 1 playthrough. He's absolutely in love with you, thinks you're the hottest thing on the planet, and is easily the most annoying thing ever. I kind of saw where the game was going to go, which was another kind of depressing thing about the game, is that it felt very predictable. And I was like, oh, well, I can kind of see where I'm going to go. I can kind of see where I want to go with the game. So I spent my entire playthrough, because you only have to do one playthrough, because it is a Telltale game, kind of grooming Radar to be the new mayor of Beacon Town. And it worked. That's how I ended up my story, with him as mayor. But you don't get to have your pet pig. You know, you do not get your pet pig Ruben, because Ruben is dead. Spoilers for Season 1. But in this game, you do get a llama named Luna. Luna is probably the cutest and most annoying creature I have ever experienced in a video game. And that is really upsetting, because it is in Minecraft, and that doesn't feel right to say at all. You do have a lot of characters that you kind of get a meeting. I do want to kind of been pacing the video so I can talk a little bit longer. Mostly because there are three characters I really want to talk about. This chick is awesome. She's a surfer chick, and she's kind of low-key like one of my favorite characters, because she kind of just shows up and is like, yeah, bruh, shaka, bruh, and it's awesome. So I absolutely love her. You do get a lot of these moments that she's gonna set up herself, and that's when you get to craft your own stuff in the game. And personally, I'm not a fan of these segments. I'm not a huge fan of building mechanics in most games. Crafting I'm okay with, because it's more of just doing things off the checklist, which is annoying, but I don't have to create anything myself. Because anything that I create does not look like it belongs in the world. You know, it just does not look like it belongs in the world. Like, I'm probably just making the exact same thing I made last time, and you'll see what I mean, because it doesn't make sense in this world. But it is showing more creativity and more things to do in the game that, you know, weren't around first time. And for that, I appreciate it. So, I'm just gonna go ahead and do this shit. I'm gonna just make the same shit as last time. But this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. Being able to have the freedom of just creating whatever you want. Very Minecrafty, and something that I was kind of surprised they didn't include in the first season. Just because it really kind of just made a lot of sense to put it in. But it wasn't a feature, which was confusing to me. But we're gonna put it in this time. Little IR. They go times. If you've been around for a while, you know what's going on. It's not quite the right color, but it is what it is. But like I said, anything you built in that thing is just not gonna look half as good or as detailed as anything else in the game. But that is something that this game does pretty well that I do want to talk about. It goes much more deeper into the lore and into the world of Minecraft, which is something that the first game kind of went weak on and didn't do a lot. But then you do have things like golems and all this other stuff going on that's, I feel, is much deeper than the original game, and it's something that I appreciate. There is something I want to talk about, which is probably one of the greatest things that I feel like this game does, and it is bringing these two characters in. And I'm not gonna lie, once I realized who these two were, because I do not watch a lot of Minecraft YouTube, I kinda lost my shit. Because I knew his voice. I am very surprised that this guy is in it. If you don't know who this is Rachel Plays and Stampy Longcat. Two. Oh, Stacy Plays, not Rachel Plays. But two long-time Minecraft YouTubers who, just the fact that they made it into this game is really nice and a really beautiful touch, I think. It's showing some love to us YouTubers, but it's also showing love to the people that kind of made the game. I'm not talking about just this game, but Minecraft as a whole. YouTube was integral to making Minecraft what Minecraft eventually began. So the fact that it's trending again, and this video won't make it until months later because I am just that way, is really awesome. And the fact that their voices are then also added to the stellar cast from season 1 just makes it golden. But other than the crafting mechanics, the building mechanics of the game, and Stacy, I know names, and Stampy, everything else in this game is kind of awful. Every new character is kind of just awful. It makes me sad. It is Stacy. No. Everyone besides Stacy and Stampy are kind of awful, and I mean that in as rough and as mean as a way that I can say that. Like, you have these characters, Jack and Gnome and Radar, who are just irritating to listen to. All the characters that you actually want to hang out with, as Xana or even the admin, to some points, get very limited screen time, and it's just a matter of, I wish you guys were here more because you guys have a lot of fun, and it's kind of boring. You know, it's kind of boring having to hang out with these other much more annoying characters. Jack is the stereotypical macho man who eventually, who's this macho man who only in later, by like episode 4 or 5, is he tolerable. Radar is never tolerable. By episode 5, he starts talking again, and I'm like, why won't you stop? But yeah, I feel this game is also really conflicted, besides with what it wants to do. Besides the fact that it is this game that is dealing with this man versus God complex, and the fact that I'm playing it to try to get some joy in my life, in comparison to the other game I'm currently playing, it feels like it spends half of its time talking down to its player, trying to get more new kids into the Telltale formula, playing with Minecraft and having really simple puzzles and just an easier flow of everything. It just feels like the dialogue in the game is just weak. It feels like the themes of the game, for the first 2 episodes at least, are just weak, and just a lot of the game lacks. A lot of the game just feels conflicted. Each episode is something completely different, completely wild, and it doesn't feel like a actual story. It feels like a bunch of locations we have to hit, and then a story was crafted around hitting all these different interesting locations. The other thing is that you can't hear it right now, but it always kicks in this music, which is fun the first couple times you hear it, and then he's like, oh, I guess we're all having safe fun times, even though monsters are around. The other thing I do want to talk about is the fact that I'm getting my ass kicked. It's mostly because I'm talking too much. The other thing, oh, you're gonna tell me I'm hella rusty, aren't you? Oh, that was weird. Facial expressions are weird. The other thing that this game kind of doesn't do well, it's just weird. Like, everything doesn't meld well. But in the end, it's a decent game. It's nothing out of the box, nothing too cool, nothing too wild. The one thing I do appreciate, the thing I really do appreciate is that this game does boss fights. There aren't a lot of them, but it is something that was excited by when they came up. I just wish there were more of them. It throws a lot of the Telltale formula kind of on its head. Be like, no, try new things, be different, and it's something that I really liked. It's something that I was proud of Telltale making all these different stretches to their formula. The fact that they added boss fights to the game was really cool, which then in turn made the trophy list so much more frustrating for me. I mean, you have this trophy list that you're going on from the first game where you have things like craft an item, talk to Ruben a bunch of times to the point that it made the game an ultra rare platinum. And this one, none of that's there. Like, you have these running segments which are cool and interesting, but you're then missing a bunch of this stuff. Which gameplay is different, but the trophies aren't. They go back to these standard, not-thinking Telltale trophies, which maybe it's because I've played newer games recently, and I've almost forgotten what a basic Telltale game is like. But just to have that digression was kind of disappointing. The other thing that kind of showed up in the first episode, in the first part, 20 seconds intro of this show, I do want to talk about, is the fact that when you end an episode, you would typically get to see what all the choices everyone else made. Well, Telltale doesn't exist anymore. The server's not data no longer exists, and it shows. And it ended up being this thing that, even though I played it as an affair, I wanted to, kind of feel better about life by playing a dopey Minecraft Telltale game. And every time I didn't get that. And instead got in sad reminders that Telltale doesn't exist anymore. That we're never going to get another Telltale game. And no, I don't count The Walking Dead, the Definitive Edition, to be a Telltale game. That is a Skybound game that, Telltale made. And it's depressing. But that's pretty much everything I have for this game. My affair did not end well, like every affair known to man. And I'm just going to show off the Platinum Trophy, call it an episode, and I'll see you soon. So, this is your Platinum Trophy. And I am a little bit happier that it is something different. It's not just a trophy, which happens too many times to count and gets pretty boring for me. But it is something a little bit interesting. It is something a little bit different, and I do appreciate that. I do love that it's Luna. She was probably like my favorite, my new favorite character, my favorite new characters. How am I meant to say that? Words are hard, guys. And yeah, so that's pretty much all I got for this episode. Thank you guys for watching. If there's anything you'd want me to play next, let me know. If there's any stories you'd be interested in hearing, let me know in the comment section down below. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye.